Hi guys, Mandy here. In my pajamas, of course, like usual. With Beckett. He is sleepy and adorable and dreaming about the weekend. It's Friday and I am going to read you another story. I'm excited about this story because it's a funny one. I love it. I've read it. Actually, I haven't read it in a while, but read it my fair share of times growing up. Today I'm going to read you guys Good Families Don't by Robert Munsch. I do have a question for y'all before I start reading. Is Robert Munsch as popular in the United States as he is here? That's my question. I don't know. He's a household name here in Canada. I have grown up on his stories. I share some of his stories with my kids. He's the best. Other than the fact that sometimes he uses words like dumb, ugly, and stupid, which I prefer not to say to children. So reading his books, pre-Emma being able to read, I would say silly, silly, or she's smelly instead of ugly or whatever. Like I would just make up whatever I felt would fit in the sentence better than those words, until the day she said to me, "Mom, that says ugly." And I was like, okay, you can read. Shoot, I forgot that. Yeah, it does say that, but that's not a nice word and we don't talk like that in this house. I actually have an interesting fact about this book that I will share with you when I have finished reading it. I don't want to taint the story. It's a good book, but I actually have an interesting fact that I will share with you when I'm done. I can hear my dog snoring now. Apparently she's enjoying story time. So here we go. Again, I'm going to do my best to hold the book up and read the story. I will make sure I get it a little closer so you can see the pictures, because this is a funly illustrated book. Good Families Don't by Robert Munsch. One night, Cameron walked up the stairs to her bedroom. There, lying on her bed, was a great big purple, green, and yellow fart. Oh, that's right. You didn't know? This story is about farts. Look at that fart. I always thought that was the funniest, randomest picture of a fart growing up. I was like, how? Who? Alrighty then. She ran down the stairs yelling, "Mummy, Daddy, Mummy, Daddy, Mummy, Daddy, there is a fart up on my bed." "Don't be ridiculous," said her father. "Good families like ours do not have farts." Nevertheless, he walked up the stairs to see what was going on. When he opened the door to the bedroom, the fart jumped on him. He said, "Ugh, glarg, arg," and fell right down. Down he goes. After a while, Cameron began to wonder how her father was doing. She crawled up the stairs very slowly, looked over the top step, and saw her father's feet sticking out from underneath the fart. Oh dear. So Cameron ran downstairs yelling, "Mommy, Mommy, Mommy, there's a fart on top of Daddy." "Don't be ridiculous," said the mother. "Good families like ours do not have farts. What would the neighbors say?" Nevertheless, she went upstairs to see what was going on. She opened the door and the fart jumped on her. She said, "Ugh, glark, arg," and fell to the ground. Cameron ran to the phone. She called the police. She said, "Help, help, there's a fart on top of Mommy and Daddy." "Don't be ridiculous," said the police. "Good Canadians do not have farts. What would the Americans say?" Nevertheless, the police drove over to see what was going on. They knocked on the door. Blam, 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 blam. Cameron opened the door and said, "It's upstairs." When the police were halfway up the stairs, the farts started to jump on them. They pulled out their badges and yelled, "Stop!" But everyone knows that farts don't listen to cops. It jumped on them. They went, "Ach, glarg, erg," and fell down. Cameron decided it was time to leave. She was going to run completely away. She ran through the living room, through the kitchen, into the backyard, and crashed into her mother's favorite rose bush. She got an idea. She picked the biggest rose and gave it a smell. Cameron held the rose out in front of her and walked back through the kitchen and into the living room. Home is where the fart is. She found the fart hiding behind the piano, eating a can of beans. Cameron walked up and stuck the rose in the fart's nose. It said, "Ugh, glug, urg. What a terrible smell." And it ran out the front door. What a clever girl. Then the mother got up off the floor. The father got up off the floor. And the police got up off the floor. They all looked at Cameron and yelled, "That was a fart!" "Don't be ridiculous," said Cameron. "Good families like ours do not have farts." And she walked up the stairs and went to bed. But Cameron's mother stayed up very late that night, working at her sewing machine, and it turned out that sometimes good children do have farts after all. I was trying to show you. She made her a fart. Okay, so that was Robert Munsch. Not all his stories are as ridiculous. Well, no, that's a lie. They're pretty silly and fun, and I love them all. The interesting fact, tidbit that I had about this book, I actually watched a documentary a few years ago about Robert Munsch and his stories and his craziness and his children and his personal life. And this book was actually written inspired by, or I'm not sure what you would say, about drug use. I had no idea. I know this is kind of deep, maybe a little more than some would like to hear, but it's, you know, people do suffer from drug abuse, and apparently Robert Munsch was a drug addict at one point in his life. This book is pretty old. I'm so sorry, my dog is snoring so loud. Copyright 1990. So in the 90s, I guess, he was getting over a drug abuse addiction, and he wrote this book, Good Families Don't. Good families don't have drugs, have drug issues. They hide it under the carpet. You know, they pretend it's not there. And that is what inspired him to write this book. And I thought, wow, that's crazy. How many times I laughed at this story as a child and made my mom read it to me over and over again until I remember one day she was like, "Not the fart book again." But I had no idea that he suffered from that issue, and just thought it was a crazy fact to know. He seems to be doing super good now, healthy, and still writing books. I still, when the kids bring home the book orders, Scholastic, there's the word. I don't know if that's a Canadian thing or if they do it in the States too, but Scholastic orders are, it's like a newspaper full of books, and you can pick out order books, and then they donate a book to the school for every book or every so many dollars or whatever, it goes back to the school. I know when I peruse through it every month, I will see every now and then a new book from Robert Munsch, and it always makes me smile. We actually have a few of his newer books, so stay tuned. Maybe I'll read a newer Robert Munsch book to you next week, or the week after, or the week after that. I don't know. I have so many books I want to share with y'all. Anyways, happy Friday. I'm going to snuggle this chubby monkey and take some pictures for Instagram. I'll talk to you again soon, guys. Bye for now. Oh no, where's the button?